And we not only go into the headlines, but we also go into some of the chart patterns, some of the indicators, also some of the earnings, the profits, the revenue, etc., etc. So, just to give a little brief, what are we going to be talking about today? Well, oil is rising. No secret to anyone. A key United Arab Emirates port gets hit for the second time in 3 days. So oil is rallying as the supply risks in the Middle East escalate after the second attack in 3 days on the vital port of Fujairah in UAE. And also, another one we'll talk about is Paramount. Why? Because Paramount and the NFL are discussing media deal that could mean CBS pays an extra $1 billion or more. Okay, so that's that one. Also, we'll be talking about NVIDIA. NVIDIA is no stranger to the news. Okay, so NVIDIA, we're going to be talking about, they have a conference, and at the conference they're going to be talking about an AI chip pivot. And here's why the CPU is taking center stage. We'll be talking more about that in this article coming up. Also, we have to talk about this. This is from ServiceNow. ServiceNow talks about how the AI agents could send college graduate unemployment over 30% the next couple of years because all the work is being done by AI agents and not the college grads. So what do you do if you're a college grad and AI takes your job? Yeah, that's a good question. Also, we'll be talking about Nebius. We talked about Nebius last week because they get the investments with from NVIDIA. Now we're talking about Nebius because they signed a deal with Meta for $12 billion for a 5-year deal for computing capacity, and this deal has the potential to be worth up to $27 billion in the next 5 years. So all that to come and a little bit more probably. So let's dive deeper into oil, shall we? So looking at the headlines, oil rises, a key UAE port gets hit for the second time in 3 days. The second attack in 3 days on the vital port of Fujairah in UAE that it's just near the Strait of Hormuz. And when that happened, how did the market react? Well, Brent crude oil rose above $106 a barrel, while the West Texas Intermediate was near $101 a barrel, and futures rose up more than 40% in the past 2 weeks. Again, this is again, these are my notes, not a script. So if you're wondering what I'm reading, it's not a script, okay? But yeah, they rose up more than 40% in the last 2 weeks. In the U.S. Struck key sites on Karg Island. Again, that's all down here in this article. Boom, boom. They struck key sites on Karg Island, which handles the bulk of Iran's oil shipments. And oil loading at Fujairah was suspended. Mr. T wants other countries to contribute to defend the Strait of Hormuz. The IEA will release oil from an unprecedented stockpile in Asia, 40 million barrel reserve. And actually Japan has begun releasing on Monday, while the US is set to roll out its first part of 172 million barrels this week. And where is that? That's down. Yeah, down here. Yeah, right there. Yeah. Morgan Stanley, how did the market react? Well, Morgan Stanley raised its Brent forecast for the second quarter to $110 per barrel. So let's take a look at oil prices, see how they're doing. Let's go here to Trading View. We're going to take a look here. If you're looking at oil, here's US oil. Bang. This is the 1 minute. This is the 1 day. US oil, where's US oil? Right here. Okay, so yeah, for example, if you're watching from home, this is on Trading View. Here we are. This is the chart for US oil. This is the 1 day chart. You can actually see, bang, it basically goes up like a hockey stick right there. Look at the RSI, okay? RSI is sitting right here. If you see that, sitting right there at about, what is that, 88 right there. And right now it's sitting here at still overbought at 73. So to explain just a little bit about the relative strength index, okay? This relative strength index is based on history, and you see right here, that's the 70 mark, and this is the 30 mark. Now, what does this 70, what does the 30 mean? Just to be very, very brief, and we'll move on. 70 generally gets thought of as, hey, you're moving into overbought territory, and the market might correct and come down. And the 30 is, hey, you might be moving into oversold territory. The market might correct and come back up. Okay. So having said that, it's just a guide, because these things can go way overbought or way oversold for a long time before they ever market correct. What do I mean? Well, take this for example, way overbought for several days before it market corrects and comes down. That's what I mean. And the same thing can happen when it's oversold. Now, again, here you are, here's US oil, and let's go to a different one. Let's go here to CVX, which is Chevron. Let's take a look at Chevron. How is Chevron doing at this time? Here's the 1 day for CVX, Chevron, bang, bang, bang. Okay, so right now Chevron, if you're looking at Chevron, and right now Chevron is sitting here at about 68. I have a 1 day time frame and also a 1 minute time frame. I encourage you to look at both, because they can both give you different different ideas, different readings. So here's your 1 minute, and let me reload this actually. 1 second. Here's your CBX, bang, bang, bang. Okay, here you go. And okay, here's your 1 minute time for Chevron. Let me bring this down. You can actually see how the chart pattern looks a little bit different. You'll see different patterns on the 1 minute than you will on the 1 day. That's why I look at them both. I encourage you to do the same thing. Dragon VRGT. Hello to you too, Dragon. Welcome to this educational channel where we try to make learning fun and interesting and not boring. Yeah, welcome. We're talking everything U.S. markets, U.S. headlines, and right now we're looking at the crazy world of oil and what's happening with oil and Chevron. So as you can see, Chevron is actually, their price is going way up as well. Look at hockey stick, 197 right now. And here, this is the 1 day. Let me give you a couple of chart patterns. Actually, let's go to the 1 minute. Let me show you some patterns on the 1 minute. Yeah, you can see. Yeah, here. Oh, I like this one. Here's your reverse head and shoulders. Here's your reverse head right here. If you look behind me, right there, there's the reverse head, left shoulder, and then here's your diagonal kind of shifted shoulder. Okay, that's your neckline. And the reverse head and shoulders is supposed to break out and go up. And as you see, right here, it does break out, but not too much, right? Now another one. Let me show you this one. Again, here's your 1 minute chart. You'll see different patterns here. There's your head and shoulders. Here's another reverse head and shoulders, but this one, look here. Here's your reverse head, left shoulder, right shoulder. But this one, bang! It doesn't. You see right here the neckline. It doesn't. See this one, reverse head, left shoulder, right shoulder. There's no breakout. So be aware that there's oftentimes no breakout there. And then let's go right over here. Here's a nice example of a double, basically a double bottom. Here's your double bottom right here. Double bottom does break out and go up right there, okay? So there's a couple chart patterns for you right there. Oh yeah, here we go. Let me see if I can get this on the 1 day. Go over here to the 1 day. And yeah, here's some other patterns you'll see in the 1 day. So here's the 1 day. Here's your double top right there. See the double top? And then boom, it comes down, it breaks out and goes down. That's, yeah. And this is the neckline for the double top right there. And right there. And then here's your breakout. See the neckline, and then it breaks out from the neckline and goes down. Yeah. And then right here. Oh, here's another one. Here's your top, and then here is your neckline breakout. The double top right there. I'll move it over, you can see it more. Here's your double top, and then boom, neckline breakout. Okay, there's that. I'm trying to find if I can get a double Head and Shoulders for you. Where is it? Where's my Head and Shoulders? There's usually a Head and Shoulders around here somewhere. Maybe the next chart. Okay, let's save that for the next chart. Okay, now I want to show you this. We're on the 1 day. Before I move on to the earnings, and let me show you this. Okay. Get my clicker. Okay, right here you see these bars that go up higher, right here and right here and right here. Okay, these bars, these are the trading bars. There's more trading volume. There's more trading volume because there's more price action. A lot of times when there's more price action, you're gonna have more trading bars. Okay. Welcome to anyone who's jumping in and joining. If you're wondering what you just stepped in, this is the educational channel where we talk about everything U.S. markets, U.S. headlines, etc. And let's go here. We're looking at CDX, Chevron. Volume right now is at 374,000. Market cap is at 390 billion. Let's go here to the earnings. Okay, earnings is sitting here. Now remember, you have the quarterly and you have the yearly. Let me move this so you can see it a little bit better. Okay. There. So you have the quarterly, you have the annually, and so right here, the blue part is what was actually recorded, the earnings that they actually got. The gray part is what the actual market, the Wall Street predicted. So if you look here, Q4, they beat, this is Chevron, they beat their expectations for Q4, Q3, and Q2. So if your strategy is short term, then quarterly is good for you, but generally you get more information from annual. So looking at the annual part right here, annually 2025, 2024, 2023. So annually, 2023 just barely missed expectations. Same thing with 2024. 2024 missed earnings expectations. The only year that actually beat expectations was 2025. So that's your earnings report. Now, how does earnings compare with, say, profit and profit, income, and revenue? Well, click here on the annual button. On the annual button, you'll see, even though the earnings weren't that bad, the revenue, the profit was terrible. Everything is all in the red. So looking at Chevron, the last 3 years, 2023, 2024, and 2025, all in the red for revenue, for gross profit, operating income, and net income, all of it. So some people enjoy looking at the forecast. I personally do not. I just use this for entertainment purposes. If it's something you like, well, then there it is, but I don't put a lot of stock into it. Jonathan Smith, hello, and welcome. If there's a ticker or if there's a company you want me to look up on TradingView and analyze, let me know. Otherwise, welcome to the channel. It's educational. We talk about everything U.S. markets. And we just did Chevron. Let's go ahead and go back here and let's do Exxon. Why not? Exxon, because Exxon is right. Yeah, Exxon Mobil. Oh, hold on 1 second. Let me change this to Exxon right here. Exxon Mobil. Okay, here we are. Let me adjust some of the settings here. Looking at Exxon Mobil because oil is big time in the news right now. Okay, so Exxon Mobil right here. You'll see that this is the 1 day chart. There's also, this is the 1 minute chart. Here's the 1 minute chart. You'll be able to see different chart patterns on 1 minute versus 1 day, and you can be able to compare the two. Yes, Lucas, hey, how are you? Thank you for the likes. I appreciate it. So for example, if you're looking at Exxon, right here, you'll notice that their RSI, Relative Strength Index, right there is sitting at about 64. So it's not overbought, definitely not. And you'll see that right here, up in the price chart, you'll see how that is kind of reflected in right here. You see that? So it's basically consolidating, continuing right there. It's not really going upward, but you see the invisible ceiling, invisible floor, the resistance is the support right there. It's the same thing kind of that you see down here. See, this is basically in the neutral area, not completely neutral, but pretty close to neutral. And so this stays the same, this stays consolidating up here as well. That's the correlation. Now let me take you back here. I want to show you a couple of chart patterns here. Here's a good one that pops out as a, here's your head, here's your left side, here's your right side, here's your neckline. And this is a good example of a head and left shoulder, right shoulder, head and shoulders chart right here. And you see it does actually break out a little bit right there. See, head and shoulders and a breakout right there. And right here, you can see double bottom, and then here is the neckline for the double bottom. You see right where they meet there in the middle, it comes down, it goes there, it comes down. Where they meet in the middle, those 2 points, that's your neckline, okay? So, boom, 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 neckline, and this neckline does have a breakout. You can see it, bang, right there. So double bottom, neckline, breakout, it goes up, good breakout. And let's see, let me if I can, right here, Yeah, that's why I use the 1 minute sometimes to see different chart patterns that you don't always see right away in the 1 day. Let's go over here to the 1 day, see if I can show you a couple over here that, depending on what you're looking for, you'll have different ones show up. And zoom in and zoom out, and you'll see different ones too. So for example, zooming in and zooming out, you get to see this one right here. Here's your double bottom. And then yes, you see right here, boom. So there's your double bottom. You see they meet right there at both of those points. And then right here, bang, it goes up right there. Bang, it goes up, okay? And then done. Zoom in, zoom out. What do you notice? Again, this looks like, for example, right here, you have a reverse head. Here's your reverse head, left side, right side. So here's your reverse head and shoulders. This one is supposed to break out and go up, but it actually doesn't, as you can tell. So again, a lot of these patterns don't break out. So this is Exxon. That's enough chart patterns for this one. Let's go on to the next company in the news. Oh, here's one that does break out for you. Here's your left, right, and reverse. So left, right, reverse, and then here's your neckline, and then there's your reverse head and shoulders breakout right here. Good. Hello, hello. For those of you joining, welcome to the channel. We're talking about everything U.S. markets and U.S. headlines. It's an educational channel. Just enjoy the show. If you have a ticker or something that you want me to analyze, let me know. And then, so here's Exxon on the 1 day. 1 day. Okay. And then, again, take note of the spike in trading bars in different places. And then right now, trade volume's at 638,000. Market cap is at 649 billion. And let's go here to the earnings side. Looking at the earnings again, depends on what you're looking for. Is your strategy short term or long term? Short term is the quarterly, long term is the yearly. And so, for example, here you'll notice my right here. The blue part is what was actually recorded. The gray part is what was predicted. So for example, Q4 beat the Wall Street's forecast. Q3 also beat Wall Street's earnings forecast. And then right here, Q2 also beat Wall Street's earnings forecast. You see the blue is higher than the gray. That's kind of how that correlates, yes. Hello everyone, and thank you for the likes and the shares. Let me know what you're enjoying. Let's go here to the annual side. Annually, 2025, see this is different. When you look at the year, 2025 missed the yearly expectations. 2024 beat the earnings expectations, so did 2023. So you can say, to summarize on Exxon, their earnings 2023, 2024 beat expectations. However, 2025 as a year missed earnings expectations. So how do the earnings compare with the revenue, the profit, the income, stuff like that? It can be similar or it can be very, very different, because earnings does not always mean profit. So going here to the profit side, over here, click the annual button right there, and you'll notice that for Exxon, even though the earnings looked okay, their profits, like behind me, their profits, revenue, income was terrible for the last 3 years, 2023, 2024, and 2025. The only thing where it was good was 2024's total revenue. Otherwise, it was all red, very, very bad. Again, I don't look at the forecast, but there's your statements, there's your earnings. Hopefully that information is helping you on your journey, whatever you're looking for. If there is a ticker that you want, just feel free to drop it in the comments. We're talking about oil right now for obvious reasons. It's all in the headlines with what's going on in the Middle East. Now, let's go to a different one. Okay, here we're talking about the NFL Paramount discussing, a media deal, something a little bit more fun, right? Not so, life-threatening. But just to give you an idea about this one, so NFL Paramount are discussing a media deal that could mean CBS will pay $1 billion more, and the NFL is pushing for the increase of 50% over the $2.1 billion CBS already pays. Now, if Paramount does, if the Paramount merger with Warner Brothers is approved, then it would have adjusted EBITDA of 18. Let me get that. Make sure I got the number right. Where is it? 18 billion. Yeah. And again, this is not a script. This is my notes for the day. So if you're wondering what I'm reading off of, these are all the notes that I took from some of the headlines. So I encourage you to do the same. That way you can also see how the headlines correlate with the markets. Now, having said that, let's go take a look here at Paramount, okay? So here's the 1 minute for Paramount. Where is it? Paramount Skydance. Yes, here it is. Let me adjust the time here in this one. Okay, here's Paramount Skydance. And then right here, okay. Hold on, I'm just adjusting the time frames here. Okay, there's that. Yeah, not very easy to adjust on this one. That's the 1 minute, and then here, this is the 1 day, Paramount Skydance right here. Okay. So Paramount Skydance right here. This is the 1 day chart. Okay, so looking at Paramount right here, you'll notice that right now the RSI is down here at 37. So again, it's not oversold, but it's definitely not neutral. And you'll see that reflected here in the price chart. What do I mean by that? Well, look right here. For example, right here. You see this? It already market corrected and came down. Boom. It went up and came down right there. And you see that. So you see that reflected here in the RSI. Remember I said the RSI is at 36. And you see right there the RSI, Relative Strength Index, corrects, just like the price chart corrects and comes down. That's why you can also look at the RSI not as a predictor, but a little bit of an indicator as what might be to come, because the RSI is also based on history, okay? And the same thing, for example, this looks interesting. Right here, you see how you zoom in and you zoom out right here, and it looks different. Well, that's because, for example, here's your head right here. Here's your left shoulder, here's your right shoulder, here's your neckline. Again, you zoom in, zoom out, you'll be able to see these. Richard Villa, thank you for the likes, thank you for the shares, comments. And then there's your head and shoulders, here's your neckline with your breakout. Head and shoulders, neckline, breakout, boom. And then let's go over here. Let's see. Let me give you some more Okay, this is the 1 day. Let me go over here to the 1 minute. Dun, 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 dun. Give you some more chart patterns. Oh yeah, here we go. So if you look right here, this is a double, see the double bottom? Again, this is looking at Paramount. Here's your double bottom right there. You can see, bang, it goes up. And then, dun, 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 right here. Dun, dun, dun. Here's another double bottom. Double bottom, where is it? I can't see it. You can't see it. Okay, bring that over. Yes. So there's your double bottom, and then bang, it goes up. So again, get the idea behind double bottoms, head and shoulders, things like that. And let me see if I can give you a funner one. Here's, if you, and again, they don't always break out, as you'll notice. Dun, dun, dun. Here, right here. Oh, here's a good one. Found it. So here's your reverse head right here. Greetings, everyone. Jelly, Bebby, welcome. Emma, welcome. Here's your left shoulder, right shoulder, and there's your neckline. Okay, and neckline, and then here we are. Bang! Here's your neckline breakout. Okay, good. So that's your reverse head and shoulders with a neckline breakout. Again, they don't always have a breakout. This one does. All right, now let's go back over here to the beginning of it. Over here to today. Those are just some patterns. If you're looking for patterns, there they are. Dun, dun, dun. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. And yeah, right. I also want you to pay attention right here. Dun, dun, dun. Here's your trading volume. Here's more trading volume. See these arrows? These represent more trading volume, right? So the more trading volume, that usually means there's more price action as well. So here, more trading volume. Yes, see in those places where there was more trading volume, there was more price action on the chart. Let's go here now down to volume. Volume is sitting here at 817,000 right now. So right here, 817,000. Market cap is at 10.7 billion. And then if we go down here to right here. Now, earnings. Again, we talked about earnings. So for example, depending on your strategy, do you want to look at quarterly or do you want to look at yearly? Well, probably yearly, but depending on your strategy, maybe quarterly is helpful as well. But for example, quarterly, if you're looking at Paramount Skydance, right here, Q4 was negative, and it was much less than the expectations. Same thing here. You see the blue, much less than the expectations. The only quarter that did well was Q2 of 2025, as you can see right there. Now let's take a look here at annually, 2025 right there. Again, as a year, the received earnings was less than was expected. Same thing with 2024, you see it right there, less than expected. 2023 was the only year that even got close. It equaled expectations. So the earnings were not very good, except for 2023 where it equaled expectations. And if we go here, how do earnings compare with the revenues and the profits and the income? Well, let's find out, okay? Click on the annual button and you'll see that right here, right there, you'll see the last 3 years. Well, let's take 2025 first. Looking at 2025, it was all green except for like the gross profit, operating income, net income was all green except for total revenue in 2025. Total revenue was red, it was negative in 2025. Now, what about 2024? Well, let's just take 2024. 2024, everything was red, negative, except for gross profit and operating income. Those were good, okay? Now, what about 2023? 2023, all red, all negative, all the way down. So again, it's interesting here, 2023 was the worst year for revenue and profit, but you look here at earnings, 2023 was the best year for earnings because it actually equaled expectations. as far as that goes. I mean, earnings as far as compared to expectations. There were higher earnings in 2024, yes, but they were less than expectations. Now, if you go here to statements, 2024, yeah, the profit was good, so was the operating income, and that's because yes, there was some more earnings, but compared to what it was supposed to be, it wasn't that great. That's also how, again, how the Wall Street market reacts, because yeah, you might have had good earnings or good revenue, but it wasn't as good as what you were supposed to have. So again, the numbers don't always matter as much as the forecast or the expectation. So keep that in mind. So that's Paramount Skydance. Let's look now to NVIDIA, because NVIDIA is they're always doing something. Let me erase this part here. Bum, bum, bum. Okay, and NVIDIA, let me do this, NVIDIA. Dun, dun, dun. 1 second, let me put this on the 1 minute chart. You can see that. Okay, and here we put this on NVIDIA, right there, and here. Dun, dun, dun. There's NVIDIA. Now, why are we looking at NVIDIA? Let's dive deeper into this one, okay? NVIDIA is, for example, this weekend, or they had a conference, and it's gonna make an AI chip pivot. NVIDIA will, and Intel and AMD are leaders in the data center CPUs, but NVIDIA is set to unveil new CPU details at the conference, okay? Again, this is the article right here. NVIDIA shifted its CPU strategy in February, announcing that standalone processors are now in meta data centers, okay? Now, NVIDIA's GPU, they've been the hottest selling for years, but Agent AI has brought on demand for its modest host chip, the CPU. Now, here's again, Bank of America predicts CPU market could more than double from 27 billion in 2025 to 60 billion in 2030. In the latest quarter alone, NVIDIA generated data center revenue of 62 billion, up 75% from last year. CPU demand comes from mass AI adoption, from chatbots to task-oriented agent apps. AMD and Intel have warned of supply shortages. Delivery lead times are up to 6 months, and the prices have already gone up 10%. So bear that in mind, okay? Now let's take a look at NVIDIA, okay? 1 second, let me grab some water here. Okay, as we look here at the 1 minute chart and the 1 day chart. So here's the 1 day chart. Dun, dun, dun. Right here, you're looking at an RSI of about 52.49. That 420 James. Thank you, that 420 James. So what does that tell you? Right now, the RSI is at about 50, so it's super neutral. Now, yeah, you can see it right there, super neutral. Go up here, if you go up here to the price chart, let's see, put that right there. What does this show you? For example, here, if you look at the price chart, bang, and here, as you can see, you see my rectangle? They both come up to about the same top points here, same bottom points here, and also here, same top points, same bottom points, okay? So when they do that, basically that's consolidation, that's continuation. They both, there's the invisible ceiling, invisible floor, invisible, you have the resistance, you have the support, same idea, but there's that, okay? So be aware of that. And that's what consolidation or continuation. Now, when, for example, let me give you an example of the overbought. Here again, like I told you, beware that these things can go way overbought for a while before they ever market correct and come down. So that's important to know. And for example, right here, looking at the chart patterns, you'll see here's your head, here's your left shoulder, here's your right shoulder, and you see here on this one, there's your neckline, but there's no breakout. Here's your head, left shoulder, right shoulder, no breakout, okay? And let me show you another one. There's your head and shoulders. Again, my time is on the 1 day in case you're wondering. And I have it that way because sometimes you can see different patterns on the 1 day versus the 1 minute. And then here you go. Here's your double bottom right here, double bottom right there. And then again, here's a double bottom right here, right here. Let me pull these so you can see them. Okay, so right here, they come down to about the same point right there. So that's your double bottom. And then this one, yes, it does bang, it goes up right there. Same thing here, you see a small double bottom, comes down, and bang, it goes up. That's what your double bottom is supposed to do, because the sellers lose momentum and the buyers then can take over, okay? So keep that in mind. Also, the reverse is true. Here is your, here's your double top right here, bang. Double top, the buyers lose momentum and then the sellers take over. What's interesting to notice here is that a lot of times you will have one way reversed by the double top, the other way reversed by the double bottom. They're almost inverses of each other. Double top, bang, double bottom, and then again, it just, they balance each other out that way. Here's one that I want to show you right here. It's not a super big one, but here's your reverse head. Here's your left. Here's your right. Okay, reverse head, left, right, and then here's your upward take. So reverse head and shoulders, and then bang, it goes up. This one does have a breakout, so that's interesting to be aware of. Again, the 1 day chart on NVIDIA. Let me see if I can get you the 1 minute chart. Anything different over here? A lot of times you'll be able to see different things on different times. Here, this looks like a right here, triple top, and then right here, 1, 2, 3. You see how they all come down to about the same place, and then bang, it drops. That's your triple top right there, okay? And right over here. And then as we look over here, you see consolidation right here. What do I mean by that? Right here, here's your consolidation as we talked about, and invisible ceiling, invisible floor, resistance, support, etc. Thanks guys, thanks for the likes, hope you're enjoying it. If you have a question or you want to ask about a ticker, you want me to analyze something, let me know. Just put it in the comments, that's fine. Anything US markets, US headlines, publicly traded companies on the US market, that's fine. Going down here, oh, here's one. This one jumps out. You can kind of see, here's your head, here's your left shoulder, right shoulder, here's your neckline, and then it does break out just a little bit right here, okay? Here's your head, left, right shoulder, neckline breakout, okay? And that's NVIDIA. So let's go back here to the 1 day chart. 1 day chart, okay. Oh, here's the interesting one. Zoom out of this. Okay, here's on the 1 day chart. I just saw this just now. Here's your head, left shoulder, right shoulder. Here's your neckline breakout. Here's your head, left shoulder, right shoulder, neckline breakout. But again, this one doesn't break out. It just stays there. So that's interesting to see. Now, if you're wondering right now, the volume is at 23.6 million. Market cap is at 4.4 trillion. We're going down here to the earnings side, right there, earnings. Earnings is right here, Q4. Again, we do quarterly, we do annually, we do them both. Now, it depends, again, on your market strategy, which one might be more important to you. But for example, okay, Q4, beat the quarterly expectations. The same thing for Q3. You can see my mouse cursor right here. Same thing for Q3. Same thing for Q2 right there. Dragon, Jonathan, hello. So the last 3 quarters for NVIDIA beat earnings expectations. Now, what about annually? What did the annual report do? Okay, so annually, 2025, as you can see right here, on the year, beat expectations. 2024, beat expectations. 2023, beat expectations. Now, just because they have good earnings isn't always great, but a lot of times what's more important is if they beat Wall Street's expectations. So sometimes they have great earnings, but it doesn't really help them that much. But sometimes it's always the comparison with their expectations. And just because they have a good year for earnings does not mean that they're going to have a good year for revenue or profit. So we'll see how that correlates, okay? All right, let's take a look. So here we are, statements. Let's go over here to hit the annual button. And this case for NVIDIA, yeah, all 3 years, if you look behind me, all 3 years, they do have great revenue, they have great profit, operating income, and net income. So all those are green, all those are good. It doesn't always work out that way, but for NVIDIA, it did, okay? So, and again, if you want to look at the forecast, you're welcome to, but it's not something that I do, but some people say, Ishmael Silva, yo, how are you? Let me know what's up. And okay, so that's the forecast. And sorry about that, I was just having to adjust something. Let's go back here to NVIDIA. But yeah, that's NVIDIA. So now, what's another one we want to look at? We want to look at ServiceNow. ServiceNow is in the news, right? Because they're making some really interesting predictions. One of them is, for example, AI agents could send college graduate unemployment over 30%, in the next couple of years. Let me repeat that. College graduate unemployment could reach 30% in the next few years. Why? Because AI is doing all the work. So if AI is doing all the work, well then what are the college grads gonna do? Yeah, that's a good question. So again, according to the Federal Reserve Bank of New York, unemployment for college grads at the end of 2025 was 5.7%. Now, not underemployed rate of 42.5% was the highest level since 2020. Yeah. So keep that in mind. Again, there's the unemployment rate of 5.7% and the underemployment rate that's right now at 42.5%, and that's the highest since 2020. So again, what's causing all this? Well, you have Amazon laying off, you have what's the Block laying off. Jeff Dorsey's cut nearly half his workforce. Again, Accumulation's cutting their workforce. Oracle was cutting their workforce as well. Again, what are you gonna do when you get out of college and AI's got all the jobs? Yeah, that's a good question. So let's take a look. ServiceNow. Let me do this. Service. ServiceNow right here. Okay, just a little brief right here as I adjust the time frames. Bring this down. Okay, this is the 1 minute chart, and go over here to ServiceNow on the 1 day chart. If you're wondering what I'm doing, I'm just changing the settings, service now, and I'm changing the settings so you can see easier and clearly. Right here. Okay, now ServiceNow, a little bit about them. ServiceNow engages in the provision of an end-to-end workflow automation platform for digital businesses. Its Now platform is a cloud-based solution embedded with artificial intelligence and machine learning. Okay, that's a little bit about ServiceNow. Now, let's go up here. For example, looking at the charts, right here, if you look at the RSI Relative Strength Index, bang, right here, it's sitting super neutral at 50. Remember, we talked about right here at RSI at 50 is very, very neutral. And you can see, when you say it's neutral, look at this. That's what, I'll pull this price chart out here. Here's what I mean. It's not going up or down, it's finally stabilizing right there, as you can see right there. And then right here, I want to show you this. You can see 1, 2, and then right here they meet right here in the middle, right here. So double bottom and it goes up, yes. And right there, that green crayon where it meets in the middle, that's called the neckline, okay? And then right here, for example, if you want to look for some chart patterns, there's that. Also, be aware of the MACD. The MACD can sometimes help you. One of the problems with the MACD, the moving average convergence divergence, Ishmael Silva, that being cash to do stocks. I'm not quite sure what your comment means. Can you explain? That being cash to do stocks. Ishmael, let me know what you mean. Let's see, for example, moving average convergence divergence, you'll see the blue line right here. This is the MACD. As the right there behind me, if you can see that. This blue line is the MACD. As it crosses the signal line and goes up, you're gonna have a price chart turn up, okay? The same thing here, when the MACD, right there, the MACD crosses this red signal line going down, that's the price chart going down, okay? So, it's, again, one of the critiques is that it does have a lot of lag time. So there's less lag time when there's more price action. There's more lag time when there's less price action. So bear that in mind. But it is a useful tool if you know how to use it and can learn it. Now looking at the chart patterns here, there's a double bottom for you. If I spread this out, you'll be able to see this one more. Again, spread it out and narrow it, spread it out and zoom in, and you'll see different chart patterns. So here, if you spread this out, you'll see here's the reverse head, here's the left shoulder, here's the right shoulder, and there's your neckline, okay? Reverse head, left shoulder, right shoulder, neckline, and then right here, bang. This is this is where it breaks out, right there, right there. So neckline breakout. So this one does break out a little bit. Now, what's another one I can show you real quick? So that's the reverse head and shoulders. You also have the same, but the opposite. A lot of times, just money in general. Oh, okay, Ishmael, got it. Okay, fair enough. Let me know what you're focused on, what your game plan is, or what you're looking at, and if there's a ticker you want. Here is here's your head, here's your left shoulder, here's your right shoulder over here, neckline, and again, head, left shoulder, right shoulder, neckline, and this one does, if you can see it right here, that does actually break out and go down, breaks out and goes down right there. Yeah, dun, dun, dun. And a lot of these, again, this is on the 1 day. If you go over here to the 1 minute, you'll be able to see different patterns that don't always show up as well on the 1 day. That's why, again, you use both of them. Here's a double top that didn't necessarily, wait, is this a double? Yeah, see, for example, oh, sorry about that. There's one, where is it? Hold I thought there was, where is it? Sometimes these are not as easy to see and find. Oh, here. Yeah, zoom in and zoom out to be able to see them better. All right, that's why you got to play with all the settings. Here's the reverse head, left shoulder, right shoulder, and then as you can see, there's the left shoulder, right shoulder. It breaks out and goes up right there. Like I would think big money. Ah, Ishmael, yes. Oh yeah, I know what you mean now. Sorry, I didn't quite catch on at first, but yeah, there's a yes, it's true. The more risk, the more reward. So the more money you put in, the more, if your investments are good, then you'll get more rewards. That's true. But then the more money you put in, if your investment is not good, then it's a big problem too. So it's a balance. It's a, yeah, you're right, but it's a balance for sure. And let's see, like over here, for example, if you zoom out right here, zoom in, this looks like, here's your head, here's your left shoulder, here's your right shoulder, here's your neckline. Again, you'll notice that some charts have more like double tops and double bottoms. Some charts have more head and shoulders and reverse head and shoulders. It all depends on the chart. You'll see that time and time again, okay? Again, this is service now, and we're looking at the chart patterns on TradingView because they're in the news right now. So here's one. Dun, dun, dun. Here you can kind of see this one too. It's not very clear, but here's your reverse head, here's your left shoulder, here's your right shoulder, here's your neckline. Reverse head, left shoulder, right shoulder, neckline breakout. Yeah, yeah, there's that. And okay, let's carry on here. Oh yeah, here's your reverse head and shoulders, and then up here you'll see the reverse. Okay, here's your head, left shoulder, right shoulder, and then neckline breakout. And this one does, bang, it breaks out and goes down. Hello everyone. For those of you who just jumping in here, welcome to the channel where we talk about everything US markets and US headlines. We try to make it fun. We just did service now. Let's go here to Nebius. Why are we talking about Nebius? Because Nebius, several days ago, just actually got a $2 billion investment from NVDA. And now they just made a deal with Meta for an AI capacity deal for $12 billion. So what is this talking about? Well, again, my notes, not the script, but I look at the headlines every day. So NVIDIA signs an AI deal with Meta for $12 billion, and it's a 5-year deal for computing capacity. Meta will also buy an additional 15 million of capacity over 5 years, possibly, if it's not sold by other customers. So a possible, look what it says here. A total up to 27 billion is possible, Nebius said. So that's quite an interesting one. Nebius is a so-called neo-cloud company that sells hardware and cloud capacity as services to other tech firms. It uses NVIDIA processors to provide AI cloud infrastructure, and it signed the initial $3 billion deal with Meta in November. Okay, so there's that. So let's go over here to Nebius. Nebius, this is the 1 minute chart. Nebius. And let me adjust the timings, the settings on this. And then here we go. Here we are. Here's the 1 minute for Nebius. Bring this down here. And then over here, this is the 1 day for Nebius. Why do I have both? Because you will see different things on different times, okay? I encourage you to look at all different ones too. And here, Okay, so here, Nebius, and this is the one. Yeah, let me adjust this a little bit. Okay, so Nebius, looking at the 1 day, and then go over here to the beginning of the. Okay, right now we talked about the RSI. The RSI is sitting right here at about 67. 67 right there, relative strength index right there. And also that you can see that in the price chart right there. It's going up. Is it overbought? No, but it's getting close. And not that overbought means that it is overbought. I'm just saying it's getting higher. Yes. In case the best. Let me know if you have a question or a comment or a ticker that you want. For example, right here, I want to show you this. This is an example of consolidation or continuation right there. You see how there's the invisible ceiling or invisible resistance, invisible floor, invisible support right there. That's what we call consolidation, continuation. Yeah, and you can kind of see it down here in the neutral area of the relative strength index, right there. See how this correlates with that right there? Yeah. And then done right here. Here's your double top, and I want to show you this. The double top, for example, you see how it meets right here. You see how they both meet about the same point? That's your double top, and then bang, it goes down. But yeah, the double top should meet both at the same point. And then how do you know when it breaks out? Well, for example, right here, this is your, where they both meet in the middle right there, there's your neckline. So here's your neckline right here. And then so, if you notice, it does break out a little bit, but not too much right there, okay? And then, let's go, let's see if I can show you any more. Yeah, okay. And sometimes you have to change the adjustments to get the chart patterns to pop out more. Let me do this for you. You can change them both ways. For example, okay, right here, here is your double bottom, bang, bang, right there. See that? They come down to the same point, and then there's your neckline, and it goes way past the neckline there on that one. Now, also, but sometimes change the setting here, and you'll see different chart patterns. You see how you can see different chart patterns at different settings? Go with that, and then, for example, now you see this one right here. This one right here pops out. Change the settings, you'll see different patterns pop out. And so right here, here is the, they both meet at the same point. Here's another double bottom, and yes, here's your neckline right there. I'll circle that for you. Neckline right here. There's your neckline, and then there's your, here's your breakout right here. There's your breakout, okay? And let's go over here. Again, change these settings. You'll see different patterns. Zoom in and zoom out. Different patterns will emerge. Yeah, I encourage you to not only change the settings, but zoom in, zoom out, so you can see the different patterns, different ways. Yes. And then, okay, right here, here's your double bottom. Double bottom, bang, it goes up. Here's also your double bottom, and then bang, it goes up right there. So lots of double bottoms. Some chart patterns have more double bottoms. Some chart patterns have more head and shoulders and reverse head and shoulders. It all depends. But here, if I can zoom in, zoom out. Oh yeah, here we go. And they don't always square up on the shoulder. Here's your head right here. See your head, that's the top. Over here, this is one shoulder. Over here, this is the other shoulder. and then here's your neckline, and then bang, here's your breakout head, left shoulder, right shoulder, breakout point. So that being said, I hope that's helpful. Hope that's interesting to you guys. Let me know which chart patterns you like or which ones you want to learn about, or if there's a ticker that you want me to analyze for you. Feel free to just throw that in the comments. Oh, here's another one. Let's see. Zoom in, zoom out, change the time frame. Yeah, okay, yeah, that makes more sense. Zoom in, zoom out, change the time frame. You see how now this looks more like a when you zoom, it totally looks different when you zoom in, zoom out. Here's a double bottom right there, boom, and then it goes up. Okay, so let's move on. That's Nebius. That's a lot of chart analysis about Nebius. So again, if you're wondering who is Nebius, well, Nebius is an Amsterdam-based AI first cloud computing provider delivering full stack infrastructure for AI training and inference. Founded in 2024, operates high performance GPU clusters, including NVDA-backed data centers in Europe and the US. NVIDIA serves startups, enterprises, and research institutes with rapidly expanding capacity and major strategic partnerships with NVIDIA. Yeah, so that's Nebius. Now, another one that we have to look at is oil. Oil is big time in the headlines right now. Let me grab a drink. Oil is big in the headlines right now. So, oil is rising as the key UAE port gets hit for the second time in three days. If anybody has any thoughts or ideas or more information about this, feel free to drop it in the comments. But yeah, so for example, oil rallied as the supply risks in the Middle East escalated after a second attack in 3 days of a vital port in Fujairah in UAE. I'm not sure I'm pronouncing that right. That was very, very near the Strait of Hormuz. And so Brent crude oil rose to $106 a barrel, and West Texas Intermediate was near $101 a barrel, and futures rose to more than 40% in the past 2 weeks. Again, this is not a script, it's my notes. Hopefully it's helping you guys, and I encourage you guys to make notes as well on the headlines so you can correlate with the charts. Let's see, Copel 4, fish stocks are booming right now. Check it out. Copel 4, okay, thank you very much. Now, it said the futures had also risen more than 40% in the past 2 weeks, and U.S. struck key sites on Karg Island, which handles bulk of Iran's oil shipments. Now, oil loading at Fujairah was suspended, and Mr. T wants other countries to come and contribute to the defense of the Strait of Hormuz, but we'll see if that happens. The IEA will release oil from an unprecedented stockpile in Asia, 400 million barrels in reserve. Japan began its release on Monday, while the U.S. is set to roll out first part of its $172 million barrels this week. Now, get this. How is the market reacting? What's the market doing? Well, Morgan Stanley raised its Brent crude oil forecast for the second quarter already up to $110 a barrel. So, that being said, let's check out some of the oil, because, yeah, how could you not, right? So, again, if you're looking at the futures price, here's the futures price, and this is on the this is the 1 minute chart, and right here, let's go here to the futures price on the one day chart. Yeah, so here we go. This is the futures on the one day, basically straight up. Yeah, like a hockey stick right there. And let's see. If you'll notice right here, the RSI relative strength index is sitting here at about 75. So yeah, it's in the overbought area for sure, but it can be like that way for a long time. I just wanted you to see the futures chart for oil there. Now let's go here. One thing I wanted to show you is this. Hold on one second. Let me adjust the settings here. Bring this down. Okay. Now let's go to CVX, which is Chevron. Chevron's a big player. How is their price chart doing? Well, again, we look here. So Chevron, this is the 1 minute for Chevron. If we look over here at this one, I'll put CVX. This is the 1 day. Again, I encourage you to do both time frames so you can see the patterns and the adjustments in both places, because they both look different under different times. Okay, done. And then here. One second. Okay, now this is the 1 day for Chevron. So look at the RSI. Even for Chevron, the RSI is sitting here at 70, right? And as you'll notice, I want you to see this. The price chart just goes straight up. Look at this. So the futures, along with Chevron's stock, it just goes straight up. Chevron's sitting there right now at 197. Yeah, and for example, look over here, right here, double bottom right here, and then right here, let me show you this. You have the neckline, and then there's the neckline, and then here's your breakout right there. So here, double bottom, neckline, breakout right there, okay? And oh, here it is. I think I can show this to you. Zoom in, zoom out, like right. Yeah, here's a small chart pattern, but look, if you see right here, here's a bottom, here's a bottom, here's a bottom. So you triple bottom, and then bang, there's the breakout. So triple bottom right there, 1, 2, 3, bang, the breakout. For everyone watching, welcome to the channel. We're talking about everything U.S. markets. If you do have a stock or a ticker that you want me to look at, feel free to let me know. Hope you are enjoying the show. hope the markets aren't too boring for you. We try to make it a little bit fun. Oh, here, I want to show you this. Here's an example right here. You have left shoulder, right shoulder, reverse head. Left shoulder, right shoulder, reverse head. If you can see that right there, that's your reverse head and shoulders. Now, here, here's your reverse head, left shoulder, right shoulder. This one does break out a little bit. Okay, you see right here, left shoulder, right shoulder. This one does break out a little bit. This one, however, left shoulder, right shoulder, doesn't break out at all. No breakout here, just a little one right here, okay? And then right here, double top, and here, this one, two tops, double top, it does break out and come down. And let me see if I can get you a better one that has a better breakout. You can see, yeah, okay. Zoom in, zoom out, and here, okay, here you go. Here is your double top, double top, double top, double top, and there it breaks out and goes down, if you can see that. And right here, double bottom, double bottom, double bottom, double bottom. This one breaks out, you can see, bang, it goes up. So again, double top, double bottom, they're basically the reverse of each other, the inverse of each other, and one goes up and one goes down. Just know how to identify them, and it will help you on your journey with whatever you're doing, looking at. Here's a couple of chart patterns that do have breakouts. I'll show you that. You can see right behind me, here is your reverse head, okay? Here's your left shoulder, here's your right shoulder, here's your neckline breakout, okay? So you see that, done. Right here, boom, breakout right there. And let's see, again, zoom in, zoom out, you'll see different ones appear. Basically, here's another small one that appears when you zoom out, right here. Here's your head, left side, right side. This is kind of more of a diagonal neckline, but it's still a neckline right there if you can see it, right? Let's talk about another one. Dun, dun, dun. Okay, well that's CVX. That's probably enough with this chart ticker. If you have a question about this one, let me know. Now I'm going to move on. Let's see. Dun, dun, dun. Any question? Yeah, I'm not Sunset RL. Yeah, we're looking at Chevron right now. This is an educational channel where we talk about everything U.S. markets, U.S. headlines, and we analyze them on TradingView here. Yeah, so welcome. Let's see. Yeah, this was Chevron, dun, dun, dun. And it's in the news right now because of what's going on in the Middle East. Basically, we just got done talking about the oil futures, and now we did one of the major oil companies, and now we're gonna get into the. Okay, I'm sure I'm 14. Okay, cool. I'm not Sunset. Yeah, cool. Well, just stick around, watch the channel, and learn. That's what it's here for. If you have a specific company that you would like me to look at, just let me know. Or if you have a question about one of the chart patterns or something, feel free to ask. It's okay. Just keep learning and growing. There you go. Volume here. One thing I wanted to show you. Volume here is where is it? Dun, dun, dun. The volume, the trading volume usually goes up. You see the trading volume where I put the arrows right there. 1, 2, 3. That's where. For example, this is where the trade volume goes up because there's usually more price action. A lot of times, more volume, more price action, or more price action, more volume. And again, right now the volume is at 2.04 million, and market cap is at 393 billion, and that's for Chevron. And if you go here to the earnings report, earnings, again, there's quarterly and there's yearly. Quarterly, it just depends on what your strategy is. For example, if your short-term strategy, quarterly is more important, but generally, most people want to look at annual or yearly earnings. And so what I want to explain here is that the blue bar is actually represents what the company actually pulled in and earned, and the gray bar is actually what Wall Street predicted they would earn. And you'll notice that all 3 quarters, Q4, Q3, and Q2, all beat the earnings for that quarter, right? Annually though, for example, 2025 beat it. As you can see for the year, there's the quarterly part, but then there's the yearly part. So as a year as a whole, they beat the earnings expectations. And then, but 2024, however, as you can see right here, the earnings reported were actually less than the earnings expectations. So they were less. 2023 also just slightly less earnings reported than expected. So what does that mean? Well, you can still have good profits and good revenue, good income. It just means that the earnings that you got wasn't as much as Wall Street was expecting. So sometimes even if you got good earnings, your stock may not change the way you wanted it to, or you might not get the investments you wanted to because you didn't meet the expectations that Wall Street had. So therefore, that's why sometimes, even though it's good, it's not as good as what Wall Street wanted. So that can have an effect on the marketplace as well. So just something to keep in mind. So going to Chevron statements, click the annual button. You'll see right here, actually, even though the earnings were not that bad, let me show you this. So the earnings, again, look at the earnings for the year. They look okay, right? But then statements wise, man, what happened? Like the revenue, the profit, the income, the net income, it's all red for 3 years, right? So that's what I mean. It's important to look at all the pieces of information and look at them in different ways. So depending on what you look at the most to make your choices on your journey, again, look at everything. So that's Chevron. Also, just to reiterate, I don't look much at the forecast, but it's there, if you want it, but I wouldn't put too much stock into it. So that's Chevron. Let's also, let's take a look at another one that's important right now because of what's happening. Let's take a look at X on, where is it? On right here, for example, Exxon Mobil right here. So for example, right here is Exxon Mobil. This is the 1 minute chart, and then this right here is the one day chart. Both are important, okay? So for example, right here, this is the 1 day chart. Now watch this as I adjust the time frame, bring this down. What you want to see right here is that in the one day chart, you'll be able to see different patterns. But right over here in the 1 minute chart, these patterns will be different because the time is different, okay? So as you change the time, you'll see different patterns emerge, all right? So bear that in mind. And let's see, done. Remove this. Now, let me show you this. For example, now look right here. For example, here you are. Here's the price chart going up right there. You see that? Yes. Now, my civics class represent how a shortage of it one product can cause mass over. Yes. I'm not sunset. Yeah, that's exactly right. It's like supply and demand. If there's a high demand and not enough supply, then you're gonna pay more, right? Because everybody wants it, but there's not much of it, so the price goes higher. Yeah. Exactly. I'm not sunset. Thanks for the comment. Now let's look over here. Right here, your RSI is sitting here at 60, 65, 66, right there, right? So keep that in mind, and you'll see right here on this price chart right here. Let me put a circle on this. Right here, you'll see how right here the RSI is similar to the price chart right here, okay? Because the RSI is kind of consolidating, continuing right there. The same thing is happening here. Now let's go over here. I want to show you some chart patterns, okay? So if we go again, zoom in and zoom out on these things, and you'll see different patterns emerge. And also that's why, for example, this one's on the 1 minute and this one's on the 1 day, because you'll also see different patterns that way too, okay? For example, look at this. As I zoom in right here, here's your double bottom right there. There's your double bottom, and then bang, it goes up, okay? And also right here, if you look, here's your, right here, double top, bang, it comes down, okay? And then right here, if you go over here, here's one. For example, it doesn't break out though. That's the interesting part. They don't always break out. Here's the bottom. Here's the reverse head right there. Right here is the here's your shoulder. Okay. So this one right here. Here's your reverse head, left shoulder, right shoulder. This should break out, but it doesn't. Okay. It just comes down. So that's what I mean. I saw. Stinson. Yeah. I love your comments. They crack me up. Saw cab driver. Stocks are manipulated. Yes, that's true, man. Very, very true. Stinson. Yes, there is always manipulation everywhere, just like with everything. That's very, very true. I'm just here to show you some of the patterns. This is just an educational channel. No selling, no persuasion, just showing you the information. What you do with it is up to you. So just enjoy the show, and thanks for the fun comments. So here we go. Also, if you're looking for patterns that break out, here's your reverse head, here's your left shoulder, here's your right shoulder, neckline right there, and then here is your breakout right there. So reverse head, left shoulder, right shoulder, there's the breakout. Yes. And some of these really, they have nice chart patterns, but they don't break out. For example, also here's another one, no breakout. Here's your head, left, right. Here's your neckline. But again, head, left, right, neckline, but there's no breakout. This one should come down, but it doesn't, right? So just be aware of that, okay? And then right here, if you can see, for example, here's another one, okay? Look right behind me, right here, and you'll see that right here, here's your reverse head, left shoulder, right shoulder, and this one is kind of hunched over. It's like that. So it's like they don't always square up as a head and shoulders perfectly like that. But this one does. You can see kind of have a little bit of a breakout. Here's your breakout, a little bit right there. Anyway, and the same thing, for example, let me show you. Zoom in, zoom out, and you'll see different ones. And then let's see, for example. Okay, that's that. Let me see if I can find a couple more in the 1 minute. Here's your 1 minute. Again, you'll see different things pop up. Well, let's go ahead and go on to the next one. So there's that. Keep in mind that right now the volume is at 4.3 million and market cap is at 654 billion. This is for Exxon. And if we go here to the earnings side, yes. Again, there's quarterly, there's annually. And if you look at which one you want to look at, well, you want to look at them both. It depends on your strategy. If your strategy is more short term, then quarterly might be more important. If your strategy is more long term, annually might be more important. It all depends on you. So here, quarterly, Q4, Q3, Q2. As you'll notice, the blue always higher than the gray, so that means all these quarters beat the expectations. And annually, you'll see right here, 2025, right here. Yeah, I'm gonna go and do some work with my math class. Oh, cool. I'm not Sunset. No problem. Thanks for the comments and keep learning and keep going. Enjoy math class. It's important, right? This is all math, so yeah, enjoy. 2025, as you can see for the year 2025, just missed expectations. It doesn't mean the numbers were bad. It just means it's not what Wall Street was expecting. Also, I'm not Sunset. Thank you for the comments and the likes. I appreciate it. Enjoy your day. 2024, as you'll see, 2024 beat expectations. Same thing with 2023. So all three of the last years beat expectations except for 2025. 2025 just barely missed it. So again, how does that, just because they have good earnings doesn't mean they're going to have good profits or good income or revenue. So let's check that out. So here's Exxon on revenues and profits and income. Not looking good, right? So again, it's like 2023, 2024, 2025, it's all red, all negative, my God. So except for 2024, I had a positive total revenue. Otherwise, it was all negative. So, wow. But that's Exxon again. Now, how about a more fun topic? Let's go here. Let's talk about the NFL and let's talk about Paramount and CBS, okay? So if you're aware of this big Paramount deal, Paramount, NFL, they're discussing a media deal that could mean CBS pays $1 billion more, and the NFL is pushing for the increase of 50%. The NFL is pushing for an increase of 50% over the $2.1 billion that the CBS already pays for the football games. Okay, let's see. NFL has a deal with Netflix. Kevin, okay, thank you very much. So can you tell me anything more about this one? NFL has a deal with Netflix, but let's see. NFL is negotiating a new media rights deal with Paramount. So Paramount, NFL is already with Netflix, but NFL is trying to get also with Paramount as well? Or what can you add, Kevin? According to this article, maybe it's not right, But according to this article, I didn't hear about the Paramount deal. I have to. Okay, got it. Thanks, Kevin. I was just like, I just got this. Is this wrong? You know? Shit. But thanks for telling me about the Netflix. I didn't know about that. And maybe there's some misinformation in this article, but I'm just giving you the headlines. Maybe the headlines are wrong. That could be, Kevin. But let's see. Yeah. So where is it? Let's see. Yeah, around 56%. And CBS currently pays around 2.1 billion a year on average for its Sunday afternoon games, and they want a 50% increase, would mean CBS would pay more than 3 billion in its next deal. About a year ago, the NFL had a deal with Netflix or YouTube. Oh, okay, got it. Got it. Thanks, Kev. Anyway, that's that. So, oh yeah, here goes. If Paramount's merger with Warner Brothers is approved, it would have an adjusted EBITDA of 18. Yeah, I saw that. Where was that? Oh yeah, right here. Adjusted right there. Adjusted EBITDA of 18 million. Wow, that's impressive. So if we go here to Paramount Skydance, Paramount Skydance, where is it? Paramount. Oh, there it is, right there. Okay, this is the 1 minute time frame, and I try to teach how to use them both. Here's the 1 minute, and then here's the 1 day. Paramount Skydance right here. Done. And again, I adjust this so it can be easier seen, and then yeah, spread this, change the settings like that. And again, why use the 1 minute? Why use the 1 day? Because you'll be able to see different things on both, different chart patterns on both. 1 second here. So here's the 1 day. What I want you to notice on this Paramount one is that right here, the RSI, relative strength index, is sitting right here at about 37. You see right behind me, that's at 37. And then if you, hold on, maybe, yeah. So right here, right now, the Paramount's sitting at a stock of about 9.65. And also, look how the trading volume comes into play. So for example, here, you see how they're like on the trading volume, these bars are much higher when there's much more price action right here. So note the trading volume bars much higher, there's more price action right up here, okay? If you can follow that. Now, what I can show you next is just a couple of chart patterns. For example, right here, basically you're looking at a head here, and here's your shoulders, neckline. So there's your head, left side, right side, head and shoulders, neckline breakout right there. Just to name a couple, we've talked about a lot. We've talked a lot about chart patterns. Here's, for example, here's another one. You can see right here, here's your head, left side, right side, head, left side, right side, bang. There's the neckline breakout, okay? Now let's go over here. Let's talk about some of the fundamentals. Volume right now is at 1.82 million. Market cap is at 10.72 billion. And right here, if we go to earnings, for example, there's quarterly and there's also annually. It depends on your strategy, which one you really is more important to you. Most people, they're looking at the annual one because that's more long term. And for example, right here, quarterly, Q4, you'll see right here, Q4 is it's very, very bad. Missed the expectations by a lot. Same thing here, Q3 was terrible. Q2, however, the earnings reported were actually much better than the estimates. So now annually though, 2025, yes, it missed the annual expectations. 2024 also missed the annual expectations. 2023 though, actually equal the annual expectations. So there's that. Having said that, let's take a look here at the profits, the revenue, and the income, because just because you have good or bad earnings doesn't necessarily mean you're going to have good or bad revenue or profits. So take a look here. You can say 2025 right here behind me. Revenue was terrible. It was red in the negative, but everything else was positive. 2024, same thing. Revenue was terrible. Pre-tax income was terrible, and also net income was terrible. And 2023 was even worse. Everything was negative all the way down the board. So having said that, yeah, keep that in mind. If you've enjoyed the channel, let me know. If there's something you want to see next time, let me know, and I will see you tomorrow at the same time. Thanks everyone for your interesting comments and likes and shares. See you next time.